Superelevation. It's not just for the man of steel anymore. Superelevation. Webster's defines it as that thing where the train looks like it's going to fall down when it's going around a curve because it's leaning so far. Not really. Superelevation is a technique that railroads use to counteract centrifugal force. When a train goes around a curve at any amount of speed, there's some force kind of wanting to pull it off of the curve. And so by elevating one side of the rails higher than the other, the train kind of leans into that curve and pulls itself to the rails and keeps it from wanting to tip over. And it is something that you sometimes don't see in model railroading. I think some people either forget the step or don't know that superelevation even exists and it's something to be considering for your railroad. I wanted to put it on mine, obviously, and I looked around the web and I found a number of ways of doing it. Some seem more complicated than others. Eventually I ran across a YouTube video somewhere that showed me this technique that I'll be showing you today. If I can find that original YouTube video, I will link it below so that we can credit the original sort of creator, or the person who showed this to me anyway, through his YouTube video. But it's really simple, and all you really need is just some masking tape. We'll get started right now. Alrighty, so I have a long 180 degree curve on my layout that kind of starts in this area right here and goes out and around and wraps around the room. And so I'm going to add some superelevation to this curve. So I'm going to start with a roll of masking tape. This is just a thin roll of masking tape that I've made even thinner by just taking a box cutter, razor blade, and just laying it on its side and slicing kind of along the middle here to kind of cut it basically in half, just to make it a little thinner. And so all I'm going to do is just start at kind of the beginning of where the curve starts and lay out a single length of masking tape along this curve on the outside of the curve. With that first layer done, I am going to come back in and lay down a second layer right over top of the first one. With that second layer complete, I'm going to come in now about 6 inches from the end and add a third layer. This will help us slowly transition from flat track into super elevated track. At the opposite end of the curve, I'll stop about 6 inches short from where I laid the first bit of tape, so I can slowly transition out of the super elevation on this side. Finally, I'm going to come in about 6 inches from the layer I just laid down to lay down the first of my final 2 layers. At this point, you can check things with a small level to make sure that the super elevation is going the way you want and at an angle that looks good for you. For me, about 6 layers of masking tape is enough for what I'm looking for. I'm looking for kind of a subtle effect, but you may want more or less depending on your layout, your prototype, that kind of thing. Once this is down and I'm all ready to, and I think it looks great, at this point I can go ahead and come back over top of it with some brown acrylic paint just to blend that masking tape into the cork. And when I lay my track over top of it and glue it down, it is nice and secure. That's all for today. I'll see you all in another video.